Welcome to the high school wrestling rule video series here on YouTube. My name is Alex Green, and we're going to be talking about high school wrestling rules, but we're going to be taking a little bit different turn on it. I'm a proud child of the 90s. I loved growing up in the 90s. It was the best. It was awesome getting to grow up in the 90s. One of my favorite TV shows, though, was Saved by the Bell. Apart from Kelly Kapowski, one of the great things about Saved by the Bell was they had a high school wrestling team. As you can see, I've got my Bayside High School wrestling t-shirt on. I saw this a few years ago. Had to have it. So here I am. I knew one day I'd be doing a high school wrestling rule video series on YouTube. I thought, why not get a Bayside High School shirt? So if you haven't put two and two together, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the wrestling scenes, whether that's practice, tryouts, or matches that Bayside High School had Saved by the Bell showed on their series, and just see how true to life they are. So I'm going to go down to the max. Come with me. On the original NBC run, there are 2 episodes that talk about wrestling for the primary plot of that show. The first one is in Season 1, Episode 9. It's called Pinned to the Mat. And the second one is called Hold Me Tight. It's Season 3, Episode 20. Let's talk about them. In case you're not familiar, the character that played AC Slater, Mario Lopez, he was a legitimate high school wrestler, a very accomplished high school wrestler. As you can see, here his high school photo and all of his trophies. Dude was a legit wrestler, and the wrestling scenes they filmed, you can tell he wasn't an actor out there trying to wrestle. He really knew his way around the mat, and he knew the techniques, the holds, the moves. In Season 1, Episode 9, called Pinned to the Mat, I just talked about, the subplot is Slater is a high school wrestler, but he really doesn't have any plans for the future. He joins a cooking class, home economics. He makes some really good dishes. He gives up wrestling. Well, the main character, Zach Morris, he makes a bet with a wrestler from the rival school named Nedick that if Slater wins, Bayside wins the bout, that he'll get Nedick's dirt bike. Zach doesn't have one, so he kind of, he's like, hey, this is my last hope. So Slater quits wrestling. Screech steps in. Screech, maybe 105 pounds, comes in dorky, wearing the headgear as you're seeing here on the screen. Nedick picks him up before the bout, puts him in an airplane spin, da-da-da-da. Now let's stop right there. At a real wrestling match, if 2 wrestlers from the opposite team bumped into that like that, we hit probably either flagrant misconduct or unsportsmanlike conduct at the least. But if the other wrestler picked him up, done the airplane spin, like you're seeing here, we would probably hit the person that picked the other wrestler up with flagrant misconduct. They'd be ejected from the meet. That is TV. I know that, but that's why I'm doing this. Let's talk about real life as opposed to Hollywood on Saved by the Bell. Slater shows up in his singlet, not wearing headgear. Nedick doesn't wear headgear. Now this was filmed in 1989. I'm pretty sure that headgear had to be worn during wrestling. I don't know exactly what year headgear was mandated, but as far back as you can see, NCAA or high school photos, wrestlers are wearing headgear. So first off, the referee was wrong for not making both wrestlers, wear headgear. They wrestle, as you can see, this mat looks like it's just gymnastics mats or whatever. You would think Bayside High School would have regulation size mats. They don't. Fans are too close to the mat area, and Slater just gets behind him, lifts him up, hits a belly to back suplex, boom. A slam. It should have been called a slam. We know the move, the legal hold song for a slam. Should have been stopped, given recovery time for the injured wrestler if he wasn't ejected for flagrant misconduct because of the airplane spin. Needless to say, the slam happens. Slater slides in, gets the cover. Referee doesn't award any points. He just slams, whatever. TV, I know, yes, it was still pretty cool to see as a kid watching it. And now, as a referee, I think Slater got away with an illegal slam. The next main wrestling plot episode was called Hold Me Tight, Season 3, Episode 20. This is about a girl that wants to try out for the wrestling team. She's told no by the coach. There's a movement before social media. I think this was 1992, before social media was a thing. They get on the radio, or KKTY 98.6, if you don't get the reference, was their radio station for Bayside. They stage a protest. her name is Christy. She finally gets a tryout. Hits a really nice, I'm not sure if she wrestled, you really can't find any information out about her, but she hits a really nice fireman, comes over, the coach slaps the mat, gets the fall. She's on the team. Zach and her are out on a date at the Max, and a wrestler from Valley shows up. That's their rival, in case you don't know. That's Bayside's rival, Valley. Shows up, puts Zach in some type of, I wouldn't call it a wrestling hold. It was more like a terrible submission style hold, or whatever you want to call that you're seeing. Christy jumps up, puts him in different holds. He takes off, leaves. Zach feels bad about it. That's why you need to learn how to wrestle. You need to learn how to defend yourself. That was very, as big of a bully as what Zach Morris was, he got his butt kicked. I'm not saying rightfully so, but he had no way to defend himself. He didn't know wrestling, apparently, or anything. She gets up, puts him in the move. Guy runs back, da-da-da-da. Christy Crystal wrestling team, and Zach is like, hey, come back and wrestle, da-da-da-da. So let's get forward a little bit. They're broadcasting the wrestling meet live on the radio station, WKK, or not WKK, it's just KKTY. Zach and Screech are on the call. Slater is wrestling the dude, hits a really nice lateral dump, gets the pin, whatever. Then Zach on the radio says, Bayside and Valley are tied 3 matches apiece with 1 match left. I don't see a scenario where a high school federation only had 7 weight classes. I could be wrong. We have 14 now. We've had 14 since I wrestled in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure if the Saved by the Bell Riders didn't have a wrestling advisor on staff with them, but I seriously doubt there's 7 weight classes. That's just me. Each state can do it differently, but I don't see California, especially Los Angeles, only having 7 weight classes. So, of course, as the show would go, the wrestler that showed up at the Max and tried to fight Zach is the guy that Christy has to wrestle. She comes in, they're wrestling around, she gets put, there's no points awarded, but she hits a terrible standing reversal. It's absolutely terrible. And she puts the dude in the same hold that she used at the Max. Well, in wrestling, you can't use chokeholds. You can't use any type of submission holds. Now, moves are painful, yes, we know that, but she uses a move that is more like a jiu-jitsu or catch wrestling style hold, and gets the dude down, doesn't even run a half, just flips him over, gets the pin, whatever. And at the end of it, she takes Zach down for a kiss. But when she takes the dude down and puts a half on, she doesn't try anything. She just flips him over and slides on top of him. That, to me, is, yes, it's wrestling, it's cool to see, but come on, NBC. You had the money back then. You could have paid for some wrestling lessons, or at least had a wrestling advisor on site. I'm just saying, if you want to invite me to be your wrestling advisor, I'm there, NBC, or the new Saved by the Bell spinoff show. And there you go, Preppy. There's my review of the high school wrestling on Saved by the Bell. Pretty cool to see. Maybe they got some stuff wrong, but that's Hollywood. What do you expect? I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go down to the beach, maybe use my blocked cell phone, see if Kelly Kapowski will return one of my texts. You guys be easy. We'll catch you on the next one.